Do you remember the sound of dial-up connecting? That strange noise before the internet finally worked? Back then, waiting was normal. Today, even a 2-second delay feels frustrating. Somewhere between those two realities, a specific generation was shaped. If you were born between 1976 and 1985, you're often called a Xennial, a small in-between generation positioned between Gen X and Millennials. The term began gaining attention around 2014 to describe people who don't fully identify with either group. But Xennial is not just a cultural label. It represents a psychological position created by timing. You witnessed the public release of the World Wide Web in 1991, while you saw search engines like Google reshape information in the late 1990s. Next, in 2004, social media began redefining identity and social comparison. In 2007, the iPhone placed the internet in your pocket. GPS replaced folded paper maps. Wi-Fi replaced dial-up. Streaming replaced DVDs and CDs. Cloud storage replaced shelves of disks. And now artificial intelligence is transforming industries in real time. Few generations experienced this many foundational inventions. During their formative years, neuroscience shows that the brain systems responsible for impulse control, planning, emotional regulation, and long-term thinking continue, maturing into the mid-20s. That means communication, work, and social life were being reorganized by new inventions. Your internal decision-making system was wiring itself. You learned patience before speed. You learned delayed gratification before instant access. You learned reflection before reaction. Then you learned multitasking, constant updates, and rapid information scanning. Most generations are shaped by one relatively stable environment. Xennials were shaped by contrast. Before on-demand access, there was structure. You waited for weekly television episodes. You recorded music onto tapes. You memorized phone numbers. Those behaviors were not small. Psychological research shows that environments with delayed rewards strengthen emotional control and problem-solving abilities. When the brain does not receive immediate stimulation, it learns to generate focus internally. It becomes more tolerant of uncertainty. Then invention accelerated. Smartphones made connections permanent. Social media introduced visible approval metrics. Likes, shares, comments. Notifications began triggering small reward responses in the brain. Behavioral scientists now openly discuss how digital platforms are engineered to capture attention through variable rewards and endless feeds. You entered that system as a young adult, not as a child. That difference is significant. Your early sense of identity formed without public metrics tracking it. Your adolescence unfolded without permanent digital documentation. You experienced embarrassment, growth, and reinvention without everything being searchable years later. Memory research shows that human recollection is naturally flexible. The brain reshapes experiences over time, softening emotional edges and allowing personal evolution. Permanent digital storage interrupts that natural editing process. Xennials developed before constant documentation became standard. That influences how you think about privacy, authenticity, and reputation. The inventions you witnessed did not just introduce new tools, they changed social rules. Before texting, if you agreed to meet someone, you showed up. Communication gaps could not be repaired instantly. If someone was late, you waited without knowing why. Research in social behavior suggests that slower communication increases perceived reliability and accountability. Instant communication increases convenience but can reduce commitment. You have lived inside both systems. That dual exposure shapes how you interpret responsibility, respect, and follow-through today. Then came another major disruption. In 2008, the global financial crisis struck as many Xennials were entering adulthood. Early career plans were interrupted by layoffs, hiring freezes, and economic instability. Research shows that financial stress during early professional years can influence long-term risk tolerance, savings behavior, and career decision-making. Financial instability during identity formation often builds caution in long-term planning habits. So while you were adapting to rapid technological change, you were also adapting to economic uncertainty. That combination strengthens resilience. But it can also create a persistent awareness that systems can fail. Meanwhile, invention did not slow down. Cloud computing transformed data access. Smartphones reshaped attention spans. Streaming platforms restructured entertainment habits. Artificial intelligence is now reshaping creative and professional workflows at a pace faster than previous technological waves. The printing press transformed society over centuries. Electricity spread across decades. The internet reorganized communication in under 20 years. Artificial intelligence is altering industries in less than 10. You have adjusted through each stage. Repeated adaptation strengthens mental flexibility. It enhances pattern recognition. It builds tolerance for uncertainty and change. But adaptation requires energy. If you sometimes feel mentally stretched by constant updates, new workplace software, new platforms, new expectations, that reaction is understandable. Continuous recalibration is not effortless. Yet within that history lies a clear advantage. You understand depth because you developed before constant distraction became standard. You understand speed because you integrated it into your adult life. You value privacy because you remember anonymity. You value connection because you witnessed its expansion. You can relate to older generations who prioritize stability and personal interaction. You can relate to younger generations who operate comfortably in digital ecosystems. That creates psychological range, and range increases perspective. The psychology of Xennials is not about being stuck between eras. It is about being shaped by contrast, stability and disruption, patience and urgency, private growth and public visibility. In a world where technological acceleration continues, the ability to adapt without losing internal grounding becomes increasingly valuable. Xennials learn to evolve without completely discarding earlier skills. You can function offline. You can function online. You can disconnect intentionally. You can reconnect efficiently. That flexibility is not accidental. It was built by living through one of the most compressed periods of technological change in modern history. If this perspective helped you understand your own habits, reactions, or preferences more clearly, subscribe. And I'd like to hear from you. Which invention do you believe had the strongest psychological impact on your life? Let's examine it together.